Good afternoon, and thank you for attending this presentation about the Rein It In competition. My name is Xander Circum, and I'm a communications specialist at the City of London. And before we get started, I want to let everyone who's joined to know that we're recording this meeting and a copy will be available on request. The presentation will then be followed by a question and answer period. To ask any questions in this meeting, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom and we will call on you one at a time. If you have a question but are not comfortable asking it while this meeting is being recorded, please feel free to contact us directly after the meeting as well. And finally, during the presentation, we would like to ask you to please mute yourself while presenters are speaking. This will help reduce background noise. Thank you. And now on to the presentation, and I'll turn it over to Ellen at Rein It In for some opening remarks. Over to you, Ellen.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Yep. Okay, perfect. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us today for Rein It In's Fall 2022 webinar. If you want to go to the next slide there, Paula. So for those of you, might be your first encounter with Rein It In. You might not have heard about it before. So my name is Ellen. As Andrew mentioned, I'm the founder and director of Rein It In. So we started back in 2019 and we've run, this will be our 5th competition. So thanks for your interest in it. So Rein It In is a competition that challenges post-secondary students to create climate resilient solutions that have a specific focus on intense rainfall and flooding. For each of our competitions, we partner with a project sponsor who provides a specific challenge for you to solve. Our fall challenge has been generously provided by the City of London. If you guys want to learn more, check out our website, or we have some different social media channels as well. Sorry, go forward one, Paula. Thanks. Oh, back one.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. So as I mentioned, the City of London has provided our challenge for this competition. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about them because some of you are maybe dialing in from different parts of Canada and might not be familiar. So the City of London is the municipal government for London, located in southwestern Ontario with a population of approximately 422,000 people. London is the 11th largest metropolitan area in Canada and is among the fastest growing cities in the country. Situated along the Thames River and within the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority area, London experiences flooding during severe weather events. In response, the city is working to improve its aging infrastructure. London was one of the first cities in Ontario to create a stormwater charge to support the implementation of stormwater infrastructure that protects the city, residents, and the environment. Today, the city continues to make rapid improvements to mitigate the impacts of climate change and the increasing frequency of severe storms. So the problem that you guys have brought forward that you would like the students to solve is stormwater. Its impacts and mitigation strategies are complex and can be difficult for the public to understand. This knowledge gap can create a challenge to justify large capital investments into infrastructure or programs and policies to protect public property and environmental health. Even with public information sessions, pamphlets, online information, and newsletter, this challenge remains when engaging different communities. Recent trials with elementary school students revealed that hands-on experiences were much more effective at helping students to understand stormwater compared to more traditional outreach methods, which leads us to our challenge for you. So the challenge is to design and create an experiential teaching toolkit that can help educate the public about stormwater. The kit should be professional, cost-effective, and easily deployable. There are a variety of lesson topics that the kit could be designed to cover, and today we're going to go over some of those suggested topics in more detail. So with that, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker today, who is Paula Bustard. So Paula has worked for the City of London for over 20 years, and her current role is a senior stormwater technologist. Currently, she is responsible for project management for various construction projects, including stormwater management, facility improvements, surface flooding improvements, and various other projects, including educational outreach for the public. Paula has also worked as a water demand technologist, which includes education on water conservation, and she also worked in a laboratory as a laboratory technologist, testing wastewater samples for compliance. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to you, Paula.
Great, thank you. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We're really excited to see all of the groups that are interested in tackling this challenge. One of the topics that we would like to be focused on is how water behaves on different surfaces, which include concrete, grass, trees, frozen ground, gravel, wetland, woodlots and meadows, and other surfaces that you may find that would be useful to learn about. How drainage works. A stormwater management strategy seeks to mitigate the impacts of increased urban runoff and stormwater pollution by managing it as close to the source as possible. It comprises a set of design approaches and distributive stormwater manager practices that promote the use of natural systems for infiltration and evaporation. Drainage is a complex network that works in conjunction to convey stormwater flows away from property, eventually to a nearby water body. Basically, swales in yards direct water to either rear yard catch basin or to the roads. Once on the road, then it drains towards a catch basin, which are connected to the underground storm sewers. Storm sewers direct water to a stormwater management facility or directly to a water body or channel, then to the Thames River, which outlets to Lake St. Clair, and then ultimately Lake Erie. Storm sewers are typically only designed for a 2-year rain event. So any additional flows are considered overland flow, which are large rain events, which direct rainfall away from property and ultimately discharge into the nearby water body. The major system generally includes infrastructure designed to attenuate up to a 100-year peak flow and safely convey stormwater events up to a 250-year event via road allowances, spillways, and channels. How drainage works on residential property. Properties built after the 1970s were built with surface drainage in mind. Homes should have a 2% slope away from the foundation, which helps keep water away from the weeping tiles and directed into the swale. There are various ways lots can be designed for properties to drain. Numerous homes may drain through a property or back to front, or through split drainage. Typically, if numerous properties drain through a rear yard, water will drain into a rear yard catch basin, and these catch basins can pond up to 450 millimeters during a large rain event. During a large rain event, it is possible to see a river flow following the lock grading plan before it discharges into the catch basin or through the overland flow route towards the road. A stormwater management pond's purpose. Stormwater management ponds, or facilities as we like to refer them as, were first installed in London in the late 1990s. Most wet ponds have a forebay and a small pool of water that absorbs the energy of the incoming water and sediment and allows sediment to settle. Water flows from the forebay to a second pool where additional settling will occur. The water level in the second pool, called the primary pool, is controlled by an outlet structure. If the water level exceeds the outlet elevation, such as a heavy rainfall, the water is slowly released through the outlet structure. This reduces the likelihood of downstream flooding, since the water is being slowly released downstream rather than accumulating all at once during the rainfall. In the case of extreme rain events, water may flow over the highest elevation, called an emergency spillway, or overflow in the pond. Water leaving the facility is typically cleaner than what is in the nearby watercourse. Stormwater management facilities are also planted with native meadow plants and tree species to help reduce pollutants, as well as making the area more well-rounded ecosystem. Many stormwater management facilities through the City of London are comprised of wet ponds and may have a clay bottom to help reduce infiltration, as facilities are designed to hold a certain volume of water. After a rain event, it may take approximately 24 hours for sediment to settle out before slowly discharging into the nearby water body. The city also has numerous dry ponds. A dry pond is designed to hold water for a short period of time before allowing the water to discharge to a nearby stream. Dry ponds control peak flows of runoff, help improve water quality, and lessen the effects of erosion. Between rain events, a dry pond just looks like a low grassy area. Swim facilities do require sediment removal. When sediment reaches a certain volume, the stormwater management facility is dredged and restored to its original functionality. Engineered flood protection of the Thames River. Fanshawe Dam is a dam located in the North Thames River, which was built in 1952 after repeated flooding along the Thames River. It is run for flood control by the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority. Construction of the West London Dyke began in the late 1800s and has been improved over the decades. Improvements to the West London Dyke system are currently underway. This section of dike protects the Blackfriars area from extreme flooding and protects the bank from erosion. There are numerous other dike systems throughout the City of London, which could also be highlighted as well. Just as a side note, the dike system also protects the oldest continuously run baseball stadium in North America, which is Labatt's Park. And you can see it in the picture there with the flooded Harris Park, West London Dyke picture. How soil drains. As you can see in the diagram, there are different types of soil, which allows water to drain below the surface in different ways. We are looking for ideas on how to teach this concept, which includes soil tests for drainage, what to do to improve poorly draining soil, how to protect your home from flooding if there is poorly draining soil, and how do plants improve drainage of soil, and various other ideas that you may come up with. Why low impact development? In recent years, the City of London has undertaken adding low impact development. Low impact development is a stormwater management and land development strategy applied at the parcel and subdivision scale that emphasizes conservation and use of on-site natural features integrated with engineered small-scale hydraulic controls to more closely mimic pre-development hydraulic features. Low-impact development practices are increasingly being used to deal with problems related to urban runoff, including erosion, sedimentation, and pollution. There are various types of LIDs, but at this time, these are the most common that the city installs, which include rain gardens. Rain gardens are typically on private property or in parks and have native plants and may have amended soils. Bioretention system, which is the slide on your right, are typically grassed with amended soils and underground infrastructure. The amended soils allow for infiltration. And bioretention catch basins. These catch basins are fabricated of a barrel and riser section that permit the infiltration of runoff into the ground, but it is also designed for overflow, which connects to the storm sewer. Silvacells are also another LID, which are a modular pavement support system that can be designed to allow space under the paving to function equivalent to bioretention. Silvacell bioretention facilities are demonstrated to achieve similar water quality outcomes to typical bioretention. And our last system currently being installed is the third pipe system, which is perforated pipe installed below the storm sewer encased in granular material. Together with the surrounding granular bedding, this pipe trench allows exfiltration with 2 to 3 days, and they store runoff of up to 15 millimeters of rainfall. Excess runoff will bypass the perforated pipe system and travel through the storm sewer. Another concept is what is a subwatershed? A subwatershed is the area of land that water flows over or through to drain into a larger body of water. There are 17 subwatersheds in London, which drain to the Thames River, and a very small portion also drain to Kettle Creek. Climate change consideration. What is the City of London doing? Increasing knowledge of what the city is doing for climate change considerations in regards to flooding. Currently, we are increasing our low impact development, expanding our channel capacity, increasing outreach and education, planting more trees, improving the dike system, and the city has also developed a climate emergency action plan. And now we're at questions. Does anyone have any questions related to specifically to the details? We do have some more information that Ellen will share as well.
Thank you, Paula, for presenting about London's stormwater infrastructure and initiatives happening in our community. With that, we're now available to take any questions, as Paula mentioned. As a reminder, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom and we'll call on you one at a time.
I say, I'll just add if people are taking a minute to digest that information. We'll see if we have questions in a minute or two. It was a lot of really great information. Thank you for that presentation, Paula. It was really detailed and talked about a lot of different projects going on and initiatives and ways that London is becoming more climate resilient in regards to flooding. One thing I will add, in case maybe some of you are feeling a little bit overwhelmed, with your kit, you're not required to cover all of those topics. You could pick a topic, you could pick something that's not necessarily covered in part of the presentation here, just different things that we can use to educate the public about how the stormwater infrastructure might work, maybe what they could do on their property to help with the issue. You know, if they're interested in installing a rain garden, maybe explaining how a rain garden works. So there's different things like that. And in regards to your target audience, there's a few different ways that you could go about that as well. The kits ideally should be suitable for a large range of age groups. However, if that feels kind of difficult, you know, if you're looking at maybe, you know, elementary school students versus high school versus, you know, a public council versus a resident, and you're finding it hard to overlap, it's acceptable if it's only targets maybe grades 3 to 8, like if we do an elementary school age range. The use for some of these kits, if this helps give some context, the city staff may deploy the kits at informational workshops for large infrastructure projects to assist with understanding the value of the stormwater projects. The kits could be sent to schools to use in the classroom, or they could even be made available for loan in the library, just to the general public. So hopefully that helps rein it in a little bit for you guys if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed. With that being said, has any questions come up for anybody that they'd like to ask Paula or the city staff here about what's going on with the city, or explanation on terms, or maybe to re-explain something you didn't understand?
And you can always email questions later. That's always a possibility as well.
And we will, as Paula mentioned, and I think Andrew might have mentioned as well, we will make a recording available on demand after as well. So just reach out if you want to go back through the information or you didn't get a chance to write something down. We will make this available. So if there are no questions, then Andrew, you don't see any raised hands? No,
No,
okay.
I do not.
So I wanted to go over a couple of the key elements of the competition in case you guys had any questions about that. So the first thing I want to talk about is the timeline. So as you can see here, October 1st is the date registration closes. So if you're interested, please make sure you get your forms submitted on the website before 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for those of you who aren't in Ontario. We have a mentorship workshop on October 15th that I'll talk about a little bit more in a second, as well as a skills development workshop on October 22nd. Your project submission is due by November 6th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then the top 5 project submissions that we receive, we're going to invite to do a live demonstration of your kits on November 30th. And I'll just make a quick note in regards to the teams that will be presenting on November 30th. We're going to notify you by email by November 20th at the latest. Anyone who participates who didn't make it to the top 5, we still encourage you, and you're allowed to attend the live demonstration event as well if you're curious of learning about some of the other projects and asking some questions and seeing what's out there. So the next question that usually comes up is, what exactly are we asking you guys to do? So design and create a kit is pretty broad. So we've broken it down into a couple different key deliverables here. There's a short description that you'll submit with your video submission that kind of outlines, you know, your team, your lesson or message that you're hoping to get across, where you got your inspiration, who your target audience is, and what you feel makes your kit experience unique and engaging. On the mention of the video, we're looking for a 5-minute demonstration video. This will be a recording that you do that shows us how your kit works. You can list your inventory of reusable components and consumable parts, like what does the city need to be able to replicate your kit? Where do they get it? How many do they need? Stuff like that. Cost for all of the components and vendors if there's somewhere specific you need to get something. If you are going the route of doing like 3D printing and modeling and things like that, which the city has the capability of doing, the digital files or documentation, digital files of STL, model, G-code for component parts, and digital files of the graphics used will be needed. And then if there's any sort of manual or guide that you create to go along with it, we'll need that as well. In regards to the video, the student teams participating, you're not expected to create a high production video by any means. I don't know how to do that. I don't expect you guys to know how to do that. So something on your phone, or even if you're using your laptop camera or something like that. If you have anyone who knows video, that's great too. But you're not being evaluated on the technical aspects of you're not being evaluated on the quality of the video. You're being evaluated on the technical aspects of your actual kit. You should still try to do your best to ensure that the audio and visual quality are good. Obviously, we need to be able to see and hear what you're saying in your video to evaluate it. And the demonstration video, I can't stress this enough, no longer than 5 minutes, please. In regards to creating your kit, we will be able to reimburse up to $100 per eligible team for costs associated with the creation of your kit. So it's not just designing it, you are creating your kit as well. Again, that's for eligible teams. So make sure you check out the guidelines to see what criteria makes your team eligible for that reimbursement. And all of your submissions will provide you with a Google Drive link to submit everything to as well. So the mentorship workshop that I mentioned, we're hosting in partnership with the International Water Association's Young Water Professionals Canada chapter. So at this workshop, it'll be a 2-hour session on October 15th. The first hour will be a structured networking session, and the second will kind of be a free space if you'd like to continue any of your conversations. The focus of this is mentorship on your actual project idea, as well as an opportunity to network with professionals in different career spaces. And then our skills development workshop is hosted in partnership with the Canadian Water Resources Association. Students will be invited to a workshop on October 22nd for an hour, and that's going to have a focus on how to give an effective pitch. And if you guys are interested in learning more about either of our partners there, we will send some information out at a later date to you about their student memberships and events and ways you can get involved with them if you're interested. So this is exciting. So as much as it's a experiential learning opportunity, you're going to make some great networking connections and develop some skills. We're excited to share that the City of London will be providing a seed grant worth $5,000 to the team that places first. And then through the Sustainability Office at Wilfrid Laurier University, they've sponsored the competition as well. And part of that money will be used to fund a cash prize for the first, second, and third place teams. So I won't go into detail with their biographies. If you guys want to learn more about them, I think you can find all of them on LinkedIn as well as on our website. So I just wanted to give you a quick introduction to who's going to be evaluating your projects. So we've got Shauna Chambers, who's the Division Manager of Stormwater Engineering with the City of London. We've got Erin Rosentals, who's the Division Manager of Water Engineering with the City of London. Brandon Williamson is the Land Management Coordinator for the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority. And Erin Mutch is the Vice Principal at Medway High School, and she will also be bringing along with her a couple of her students to help with the evaluation as well. So with that being said, and if anyone has any questions still about the presentation that Paula gave, feel free to jump in here as well. But does anyone have any questions about the competition itself, like what's expected, or where to find more information? There will, on the note of more information, I will also mention on our website, the City of London has also provided some additional links on the competition page there with different resources to learn more about stormwater infrastructure and projects within the city. So you can check that out as well. Quiet group today. No questions. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you to the City of London team here for their time today in the presentation and for hosting our competition. We're excited to work with you and to see what kind of projects the kits are designed as.